One of the burdens I carry as a YouTuber is people judge me for the stories that I cover, but also for the stories that I don't cover. For many, many years, that was the case with the Heath Hicks. People were judging me for not talking about his legal actions, lawsuits, judgments. We're gonna change that today. You're about to hear very, very interesting podcast about what's going on in our crazy roofing industry. But first, let me thank sponsor of this video, Estimate Experts. If you're in the insurance game, you don't want to leave any money on the table for insurance companies, which is averaging 30-40%. So if you're not supplementing your claims, contact Estimate Experts and start today. Enjoy the podcast.
Their Facebook or Instagram feeds or Google ads, you're going to get lost in there. Not that you can't stand out, but in order to stand out, that bidding process of the ads just makes the ads more and more and more expensive the more people are trying to get in.
Treat your company expense like your personal expense.
Yeah. I think the harsh truth in that is most of the ideas just aren't good ones. I think they're still blasting it because they're still trying to make my company go away.
Heath Hicks, how many times we've done podcasts together? 3, 4?
Something like that, yeah.
3, 4. Well, you are here for the treat guys today because you're going to be taking notes, business lessons. You will learn a lot, I promise you. The questions are very good business questions, but for those of you who like little drama, I will also address it because I've been under attack personally. My character was under attack for the past couple of years. People were accusing me that I would not talk about Heath Hicks legal battles because he is my friend. We'll talk about it at the end. So if you came here just for that, skip all the way to the end. The spicy and the drama will keep all the way at the end. Heath, thank you so much for flying in and making it here to Minneapolis.
Good to be here.
How do you like Minneapolis?
It's a great city, except in the winter.
Except in the winter.
Yeah.
I love it in the winter. I wish it would be a little bit colder. Like, I'm not
right?
used to trying to cool me off during the podcast with the fans.
Yes.
I don't like that. So let's talk about business challenges and strategies. That's my first category. What habits have you built into your team that you wish you have done earlier?
Evaluating expenses in detail every single month.
Every single month.
Every single month.
How fast do they grow? If you
Oh,
don't.
man. Even when you're doing that, they still seem to grow because everything seems important. Everything seems worthwhile. Everything seems like a good investment. If you don't have a plan, this just looks like a great new idea. Let's just try this thing or buy this thing or get a subscription to this new app or whatever it is. And man, the costs climb so fast.
I recently attended Patrick Bet-David Vault conference, and he shared with us his company values, and I actually wrote down mine. I was forced. They give you this task, and you go do this, core values. What's not? Never done it before, but one that I stole from Patrick Bet-David is treat your company expense like your personal expenses, because so many people, when we work for the business, when we travel, when we book that hotel, gas, whatever, we treat like it's unlimited. Oh, it's company card.
Right.
How do you train your people to do that? How do you teach people to be careful with the spend? Because I've noticed it's so hard to pass, and people I need the subscription. I need I hate waste.
Right.
If I can save $1, I will. Employees usually don't have that mentality.
No, not usually. The biggest thing I think is to set up a system where people don't really have very much discretionary spending at their fingertips, where they can just make their own decisions on what they're spending money on. That needs to be systematized or needs to run up. That decision needs to run up through a person who's responsible for the money and the spend. Because if you leave it in the hands of your reps or your production people or even sales managers or something, they just don't have the right mindset for pinching the pennies and verifying whether an expense is necessary or not. That's just not a part of their job description. And so first off, they shouldn't be able to make very many decisions with what the company is spending. If they are, they should have a very clear budget and a limit on what they can spend, a very clear definition of what they can spend it on. I had one guy run one of my office, and it was probably 6 months into it, I realized he had like $1,000 worth of coffee coming every month, showing up at his office, but nobody else's offices, just the one that he was at. Like literally like $1,000 a month in coffee stuff.
Really?
Because he just really thought coffee was great and really thought we should treat every customer that walks in the door to like, like it was Starbucks or something. And, I just realized that for him, he didn't realize he couldn't do that. He just got a card and we said, buy what you need for the office. And for him, in his mind, that's something he needed for the office.
I learned it's so much easier to reimburse. One of the ways to stop it is like you bill me, because if he would bill you for that $1,000, he would question, hey, why am I spending so much?
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people just don't have the financial leaders. Like I noticed my dad, he's 65. I have access to his account because I help pay his bills, and I have to have a couple talks with him. I'm like, Dad, you spend like you stop 4 times the same thing for coffee, like $5-7. Like you don't make enough money to justify it. Can we cut back? Do you think that's the problem, that people in general don't try to save even personal finances?
I mean, that's one of the problems with telling people to spend the money like it's their personal finances. If they're bad in their personal finances, they're going to be bad with yours. True. I think the real main problem, though, is that people think that the company's money is endless because they just think it's a big company and there's just a lot of money in it. And so they don't think the money is tight. They don't think the company's going to run out of money. And so they don't spend it from the perspective of I need to be wise with it. They spend it from the perspective of, it's just a little bit. The company's got a lot. They'll be fine. Got it.
How do you decide which problems to fix now versus let the business outgrow?
So I spent a lot of time in the EOS system. I don't know if you're familiar with that. And one of the things that I really learned from that that's been really good for me is I really want things to operate at about 80% efficiency and effectiveness. Above 80% is good, but 80% is really the target. And so if we're checking most of the boxes, that's usually good enough to not have to continue to change the system, because the system will need to continue to change as the company grows, either with time or with size. And so if you start honing in too closely on really small changes that only have a little bit of effect, you're going to have to rechange those again in the future anyway. So hitting at about 80% efficiency and effectiveness, I think it'll keep you from spending too much time on those little things that are just going to keep changing over and over again.
Once salesperson learns your system, whatever your system is, what's the next skill you push them to build?
Oh, man. After they learn the sales system, well, let's just back up. Before they learn the sales system, the thing that I make sure they have is motivation. And it's an important conversation because a lot of people don't think as much about that in the hiring and recruiting process as I think they should. Because if someone has motivation, you can see it in their life before they got to you. You can look at the history of their life up to that point and basically be able to gauge whether that person really is motivated or not. Have they accomplished something already? Were they really good at sports? Did they go into the military? Have they been successful in all of their other jobs? If they're motivated, then when I give them the training and they get through the program, then they already know the recipe for success before they got to me. They're just going to re-implement it with my, tools and procedures and systems and stuff. After, let's say they have motivation and they get the sales system. After that, I think what we're going to teach them mostly is communication skills.
Can you help to rekindle the motivation if they lost? Because a lot of people, even in the business world, they used to be motivated. They used to go to the gym, and life happens. Kids happen.
Right.
Business owners do it all the time. They quit.
Right. I think there's a difference. To start talking about that, the difference between motivation and inspiration is pretty important. Because you have motivation, whatever it is you have, you already have it. I can't really change it. I can give you inspiration that will cause you maybe to move in a specific direction with your motivation, but I can't really make you motivated truly, because motivation is the thing that drives you for a long period of time. Inspiration can certainly die off. So if somebody goes to a sales conference or they read a really good book or they go to Tony Robbins or whatever, they might come out of the gate running really fast for like 3 months and then they just kind of peter out. That's because that's their inspiration. That's momentary and temporary. Your inner core motivation is pretty permanent. It's pretty steady. Unless you get really depressed or like have really big traumas in your life or something big happens. Outside of that, that's your inspiration dying off and you're kind of going back to your base level of motivation. I can't really change that. I can influence it a little bit. That's why I don't want to take people in unless they're really motivated before they get here. because I can give them inspiration, which would be like a focus. You're really motivated. You want to accomplish a lot in life. Here's the path. Here's the tools. Here's the goal at the end. And then that person will take off running. That's what I'm looking for.
Love it. How do you balance reinvesting in the company with rewarding your family? Like, where's the balance?
Because good question.
We can
It's
always
a really good question.
take a bonus, go on a family
Yeah.
trip, or spend more money on
Well,
next idea.
For me, I probably fall in a different direction, lean a different way than most people. Because when I first started having money come into the company, I was kind of scared of it. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't want to take it. I left it in the company for years. My CPAs were like, dude, you got to take some money out of here. Because our bank account got really big. And they're like, you don't understand. You literally have to take the money out of the company because you could lose it if it's in the company. You need to take it, protect it, invest it. And I'm like, I just didn't know what to do with it. I still drove a minivan. I still lived in a rent house. I hadn't even bought a truck yet. Like, I just didn't know what to do with it. And I didn't take a piece of advice that I absolutely should have taken from Anthony Del Medico. He told me one time, I was at one of his shows and he was asking me about our success and we won an award or stuff at his show. And he was asking me about the finances. And I was like, yeah, I don't really do anything with it. He's like, bro, you have to take 5%. Every month, take 5% of the revenue, take it out of the company and put it into your life. Every month for the rest of your life, take 5% out of your company. Otherwise, your company is going to get fat. You're going to think you're making a lot of money because there's a lot of money in the bank account. And then everybody's going to start spending it and everybody's going to start reinvesting it. And then if you grow your company like that and you hit a slow season, he's like, you're going to lose all your money. And that's exactly what happened to me because I didn't take the money out of the company because it was kind of a value of mine to like not be selfish. And I had started out in church and mission work. And I'd lived on so little money for so long. I didn't really know what to do with it. So I just left it there. And that's exactly what happened. All the money disappeared into this big new app and this big new office and all this stuff. And then the revenue drops a little bit and the money doesn't come back. And I realized, oh man, I literally burned, like in that 3-year period, I probably earned $2 million that I could have had in my own life. It just disappeared into everybody else's salaries and bonuses and company trips and all this stuff. It just didn't make its way into my life because
You didn't pay yourself even salary?
a little bit, but for the first 2 years, like 60 grand. Because I'd never made that much money. It's the most biggest salary I'd ever had. So I didn't take that advice and I reinvested everything. But
Do
I
you
did
do
it
that now? Do
foolishly.
you take 5% from the business?
If the business is in a place where it can handle it, yes, or more.
I absolutely love what you shared earlier at lunch, and I would like you to share it with us now with the audience because I think it's a proper time. So, at CatchAll, your newest business, biggest business, you focus on profit this year versus you made 3 times more profit. Tell me.
Yeah. So, I'm kind of personally wired for growth to kind of help things grow and.
Sales fix everything.
Yeah, sales fix everything, or marketing. When it comes to CatchAll, I'm driven to kind of make things bigger, make them grow. That's exciting for me. But after this, I'm about 10 years in to the roofing industry, being an owner, and I decided last year with my partner in CatchAll that we should not focus on growth at all and just focus on profit. Because I kind of ran the numbers. If we keep growing, because we were growing anywhere from 50 to 100% every year for quite a while. But then the take-home money wasn't growing in that same rate. And I realized, well, it must be because our expenses are growing. We're investing, we're reinvesting more. R&D is getting more expensive. What can I do? Because if I keep growing at this rate of revenue, but my profitability keeps shrinking a little bit, let's run the numbers against that projection of 5 years versus if I stop now, stop growth completely, and I only focus on profitability, and I increase my profitability by even 30%. And then I get back on the growth train at the end of that 5 years, I will make, it was like 2.3 times as much money if I just take 1 year out to focus on only profit.
Wow.
And that's just with measured growth, not even big explosive growth. And I was like, man, I'd be really stupid not to do that. So we did it. We decided at the end of last year at our yearly planning meeting for this calendar year that we were going to do nothing that didn't revolve around profit. We weren't going to talk about it if it wasn't about profit. We weren't going to spend time in meetings about it if it wasn't about profit. We weren't going to make decisions on it. We were going to make strategies on it. We're just going to focus on profit. And really up until maybe 2 weeks ago, we were literally, I think, like 0.4% difference in revenue from year to year, but we're 3 times as profitable as we were before.
That's so powerful. I love hearing stories
Yeah,
like
it's
this.
so cool. It feels really good because now the company is healthier. It's more stable. We've got more money to do the things that we need to do. It's good.
You know what's the hardest thing when you interview 3-4 people in one day? It's to adjust the audio levels. Elijah before him was so loud. He was so loud, and this guy is so quiet. I know my audio guys will be able to do it on post-production if he is quiet. I don't know if he is or not. I'm pretty sure you can hear him fine. But I have to adjust here because I've been yelled at for 45 minutes, and now I'm trying to lean in and
that's funny.
All right. A lot of contractors throw money at advertising. How do you decide what's worth spending on and what's a waste?
So for me, from a marketing dollars perspective, I think it needs to bring at least 5 times revenue.
5x.
5x in. Otherwise, it's not really worth your time. Because if you're just getting like 2x or 3x on your spend, you're not just spending the money. It's the time, the energy, the content creation, the assets you're creating, the vendor you're managing to get that work done. That's expensive. That puts your cost at double or triple what you think the marketing dollars is. So if you're paying,
are we talking about net profit or gross profit, or like if you spend $5,000 a month, do you expect $25,000 in sales or profit?
Gross profit.
Gross profit.
Yeah, gross profit. Okay. It doesn't have to be net profit. That's pretty difficult to manage, measure accurately anyway in that short time frame. But gross profit off the job, you can totally manage that. So if I'm spending $5,000 in marketing, I got to realize it's $5,000 in cash. How much gross profit do I need to make on jobs to get that $5,000? Well, I look back at those jobs. I mean, that's 2 or 3 jobs, maybe by the time everything gets, off one job. Net profit would be several jobs, right?
Yeah.
Gross profit, it's one job coming in the door, but then I take the $5,000 and I spend time on it. My team spends time on it. We're in meetings discussing our strategy. We're in meetings with the vendor, whoever's spending the ad dollars,
of course,
meeting with them. Then we're doing sit downs and we're talking about content creation and we're doing all these videos everywhere. And that's all investment of time that is measurable as dollars. So then we're at 2 or 3x the $5,000 just to get the $5,000 to the vendor. Because how much time did you spend to even find the vendor and interview them? It's an expensive process. So if it's only bringing me back 2 times or 3 times, it's not worth my time. It needs to be at least 5 times.
And with that, I want to send message to my marketers out there. If that's you, you have to repent today and never use this line again. And the line is this:
just sell one more job.
It goes with Facebook ads, Instagram ads, any kind of management, social media. But if you get one job of it, it's worth it. Like $200 a month for 1 year. But if you get one job of it, no, it's not worth it. If you charge me $300 a month to manage my Instagram, so that's what, $3,600 a year. Even if I get one job, it's not worth it. You get better side of the deal. You're helping yourself, not me. Would you agree?
No, totally agree. Our marketing efforts through the CatchAll, which is where I've gotten a lot better at managing that stuff. We're shooting for a 12 ROAS, return on ad spend. We want 12 times the revenue of what we're spending in ads, just as like a base measurement. We have certainly campaigns that perform better than that. We've got campaigns that run for 6 months that are like a 40 ROAS, which is awesome, completely worth it. But if I was sitting in that like 3 to 5 times ROAS, there'd be marketers all day just spending my money as fast as I would give it to them. And the company would just be staying even. Our revenue would go up, but we wouldn't really be making any more money.
Do marketers approach you to advertise CatchAll?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
No.
They can compete with you.
No.
If you're good,
they really can't. They really
I
can't.
hate marketers who are only good at advertising themselves. They have no case studies.
Yeah.
They cannot show one single ad for a roofer that actually brought results, but they're so good at their ads selling roofers.
Well, I'll give you the best litmus test.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hire a marketer that hasn't made me call them. You're telling me you're going to get homeowners to call me? If you can't get me to call you and you're hitting me up in my inbox, no chance I'm giving you money. No chance I'm giving you money. And I will add some props. Hook Agency, I love those guys. They make really good stuff. They really care about people.
Hashtag not sponsored?
Yeah, not sponsored or whatever. I don't know. I just want to throw it out there because I think they're the only people that I've seen. I'm not on social very much anymore.
Well, you call them and
But they're the people that generate content that makes me pay attention to them, makes me think they know enough about what they're doing, And there's probably others. I'm not throwing shade at anybody, but But if you hit me up in my inbox, you're never getting my business. 100% never getting it.
Can you take 50 more leads per month? What's one? This is the reaction roofers have when you send us those DMs.
Oh man, dude! I thought about making an album at one point. Cause I probably still get 3 a day.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
3 a day.
I have roofing insights. Like I don't have a roofing company, and they still target me. And I ask them, like, "What do you think I do?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
What's one mistake you see contractors make when they finally start growing, and how do you avoid it?
Thinking that what they did to get themselves there is what they need to keep doing. They stop growing, they stop getting wiser, they stop getting smarter, they stop learning.
Complacency.
Because they get so busy with what they're doing.
Yep.
They don't step out of the role of doing, and they don't continue growing. Really, once you start to grow, you need to step out of that doing role. And you need to be in the management, supervision, oversight, visionary role, let go of all the day-to-day responsibilities so you can really manage the company. Because if you're waking up in the morning, you're still writing reports and you're doing estimates and you're doing so, you're not going to be an effective manager of the business, but it got you there. So you think it's going to keep you going. It's not.
Agreed. Let's talk about industry trends. You've said that professionalism is what sets roofers apart. What does professionalism look like in 2025? Because it changed over the years.
Yeah. Yeah, I think nowadays the experience that a homeowner gets with a roofer compared to when I started 10 years ago is drastically different. We approach customers differently. We have different messages. When we show up, we do really detailed inspections. They get free, really beautiful reports that let them know the state of not just their roof, but their entire property. And then if we do any further work with them, their estimate packages look amazing. There's so much information and there's so many pictures. There's so much information about all the products. They are so much more well-educated to be able to make a decision. I think that's all really beneficial. And then for us in AVCO, one of the things that we do is our job site looks really beautiful. It looks really amazing. It's very clean. It's very organized. CatchAll is a part of that. So part of what birthed the experience and the product of CatchAll is to try to elevate the experience of the homeowner so that like when they come home from lunch to check on the job, it doesn't look like an explosion just happened all over their property and they have a panic attack because they think everything's broken and messed up and their home's never going to be the same again. Those are some of the things that I think increase professionalism in the industry right now.
So I would add CatchAll is part of being professional, how you clean up. So CatchAll turned cleanup into marketing. What other boring tasks could be branding tools?
Well, I would stretch it just a little bit beyond cleanup and just say the job site in general. That job site, while it's active, which for us, our average job site is 2.5 days that we're at a job site performing work. Really, that's 24/7 marketing. Our job site looks so good and has so much branding throughout it. It's marketing to the neighborhood from sun up to sundown all the days that we're there. Oftentimes a half a day before and maybe even half a day after. Between the trailer, all the signs, the catch-all, all that stuff, the job site itself is a really powerful marketing tool inside the neighborhood. And then if you do kind of like hyper local marketing around it in social and Google ads and things like that, it'll just propagate the strength of that marketing because people will see it multiple times, have multiple impressions of that. The images of your job sites in and around where they might actually physically see your job sites. And that message is really strong.
When does digital marketing outperform physical? I know you like physical job sites. It's all great. But when does physical outperform digital?
The simple, quick answer is I think when markets are really saturated with digital. So if there's 16 players in that geography that you're in, all trying to get to people through their Facebook or Instagram feeds or Google ads, you're going to get lost in there. Not that you can't stand out, but in order to stand out, that bidding process of the ads just makes the ads more and more and more expensive the more people are trying to get in. And so then you end up seeing less people per impression, per dollar. Less impressions per dollar, but you're spending more dollars and you're seeing less people. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. So really for me, it's how saturated is the area you're trying to run your ads. Because if you're having to spend, $60 a click to get your ads through, that's a lot of money. If you're getting set appointments for $120 like you probably are in Dallas right now, that's a lot of money. If you run in 6 appointments and only closing 1, that's a lot more than you think spending on your ads. So it has to do with that.
I always tell people that before you spend $1 on digital, rep your vehicle is the best return on investment you'll have. And do you agree with it? And also I would say, think about you're in your own town. You want a jobs around you, your neighborhoods, your community, right? I was in Atlanta at Top Golf event. We have 80 roofers, attended. 7. Brandon, were you there? Was 7 or 8 vehicle reps. I went and I took pictures, and I out of 70, 80. Wow. And I asked people You guys don't want it to be seen. You hear a local event close to you.
Yeah.
You telling me you want jobs,
Right.
want leads, but where are you gonna get them
Yeah.
if I here and you're here, but you have no indication of what business you're in?
Right.
Do you agree that vehicle
Yes.
wrap and job sites no first?
Yeah, I think vehicle wraps first. A lot of people avoid the wraps at some point in the beginning because they sound so expensive. But on our vehicles, we did full wraps for a while, and we scaled it back to where we're only doing large stickers on portions of the vehicle, and we arrange it where the vehicle looks like the rest of the wrap, so you really can't tell the car is the whole thing isn't wrapped. It's a lot less
I've
expensive.
done the same thing.
It's cost like $1,100 or something at that point to get
Still
a truck
does the
done.
job.
Yeah, absolutely. But full wraps might cost $6,000.
Yep.
So we're running $1,100 or $1,200 per vehicle, and then the trailers are super important for us. We've got a whole fleet of trailers that go to all of our job sites, and we leave them. We put them there the day before. We leave them there during the whole job. Sometimes they don't leave until the day after the job. That thing is marketing in the neighborhood and around the city nonstop because the trailers are a lot bigger than your truck. So there's a lot more marketing area. So when you've got the branded truck and the branded trailer running through town, if you've got 6 of those and you're concentrated geographically, you're not running all over the entire, Minneapolis metro area with 6 trucks. If you're focused in the area you want to be in, that's enough to make a real difference. And I would agree it's the most powerful spend.
Wow. Are you using any AI tools in your marketing?
The marketing people definitely use someone. I'm not totally familiar exactly. I know they've made some of my voice, or they can use my voice on the videos, and they clean up some of the editing stuff and stuff like that. I'm not super familiar with it, but
Just as a tool for
Yes.
the people.
But as far as using AI to find leads and stuff like that, we don't really utilize that now. I'm sure there's a lot of power in it. We just don't do it.
Let's talk a little bit more about your personal journey. When you bought AVCO, you were stepping in some big shoes. What was the moment you knew that you actually could do it?
I had known for about 1.5 years that opportunity was coming my way. I'd felt it in my heart. I felt like God had communicated it to me. I didn't know exactly what it was going to be, but my wife and I, we decided to save every penny that we had, and we lived in a really crappy little rent house. She drove a $500 car. I drove a $2,500 truck, and I ended up just saving. And I knew we were going to have a kid soon and stuff, and so I saved as much as I could. So we saved $85,000 in about 1.5 years. Just not spending anything and just selling as much as I could. She was working, and I did it.
So the goal was you were saving money towards what? You were trying to buy a company?
I wasn't
business,
sure exactly what was going to happen, but
you
I
were
knew,
looking for opportunity.
I knew opportunity was going to come, and I'd always known I was going to own my own business in some way, shape, or form. I didn't really think it was.
Did
really
you have
going
a
to be
full-time
roofing.
job at that time?
It was roofing. Yeah, I was a roofing salesman for the company that I own now.
AVCO.
Yeah. But I didn't know that it was going to be roofing. I just knew in my heart it was coming. And when the opportunity showed up, the way that it showed up, I had the right amount of money essentially to get the deal started. It wasn't obviously all that I needed, but it was enough to get the deal started. And, I didn't know this, but there was another person trying to buy the company at the same time. And I beat them by 12 hours because I had the cash. I had it saved. And so when that opportunity came up, I knew it was the right opportunity for me. And there was never any doubt after that.
Looking back, what advice would you give Heath Hicks in 2014 right after buying AVCO?
Put 5% of the revenue in your bank account every month. that would be the biggest change I could make to my life. If I could have gone back in it, and that's twofold. That sounds like I just want to make a lot of money. That's not it. If I had done that, I would have had a disciplined business the entire time. Financially, we would have been disciplined. We wouldn't have wasted a lot of the money that we wasted on stupid things we didn't need. And the business would be better for it as well if I had been disciplined enough to do that.
How was being self-taught helped and hurt you as a CEO?
Man, I don't know that self-taught has drawbacks, but I will say if I had a really good mentor in Jim Johnson, I didn't utilize him to his full extent because it became personal eventually, but in the beginning it was professional. And there were parts of my life that I was not I didn't have an older mentor type to help me understand what it meant to be a business owner and to be a leader in the ways that I could have benefited from. If I had had that, I would have had a significantly different outcome. And so it wasn't because I wouldn't say that there was any drawbacks because I was self-taught, but because I wasn't connected to an older generation of men to learn life lessons from. that really, I experienced a lot of pain, and I learned a lot of those lessons myself. So in a way, they were self-taught, but it's wisdom I could have had, an education of a different sort that I missed out on. So if you're out there and you're in roofing, find a coach, find some mentors, and then find a man or woman or two for you that cares about you and is willing to tell you, hey, you're wrong about that.
You know what I noticed? Every time I interview someone super successful, like 10 million plus, 100 million, 50 million, they all say the same thing. Find mentor, go to events, network, all of that, right? But every time I go to Facebook and I see comments about conferences or classes or programs, see a whole bunch of guys who are doing 1-2 million, you know, you're barely making it. They're all like, all conferences are junk, or this is just a money grab, or that person is just trying to get you.
Yeah.
There's a pattern. Successful people hire mentors. Successful people ask for advice, and they don't know it all.
Right.
And losers know it all. So know it all.
They crow the loudest. They're the ones arguing the most. They're the ones saying they know the most. They're the one throwing the most accusations out there to everybody else, acting like they know everything. The big lesson for me in life is the more I learn, the more I know that I don't know stuff. But the more excited I get to find out I don't know something, because then I know there's more I can learn, right? Just beyond that, there's something there I can learn and I can add to my tool set. But every time I do that, I realize the world is so much bigger than I thought it was before I even learned that thing. It's constant. If you're not constantly in this position of realizing that there's so much more out there that you don't know, and realizing that what you do know is such an increasingly smaller amount of what there is to know, then you're on the wrong track.
You know what gets you there faster and always there is travel. Every time you travel, especially if you start going to different countries, or even like just doing this. Sometimes I'll be like very, very down. You're like losing your why. Like, so, you know how many times I wanted to quit freaking doing podcasts? Like, because it doesn't pay the bills. Sometimes you ask like why I do what I do. And then I'll travel to a company and they'll fire me up. Like Guild Collect. Last month, I came there, 4 business owners. You tour that company, I come home, it's like, I want to change everything I do, because you see, it's weird. The more people you meet, the more you realize how little you know.
Can I tell you a cool story about travel? So I've got 2 boys, Atlas and Phoenix. They're 7 and 11. And I grew up with a passion for travel, started traveling when I was in my teen years, and actually moved overseas when I was 17. And I wanted to make sure that they got around. And so they've each been to like 10 countries or more already, and they're 7 and 11. And we have a big map on the wall of all the countries that we've all been to, and they've got these different color pins and stuff. And my son Atlas just took his first series of placement tests in school, because he kind of goes to an unusual school, kind of a Montessori type school. They don't have grades and classrooms in the same way. System, So anyways, he took his first placement test because I really wanted to see where he was at. And his average grade level, he was finishing 5th grade, his average grade level is 10th grade, but his social studies was like freshman in college level.
Wow.
And I was like totally floored. I'm like, how is that even possible? And then his teacher was like, think about where he's been, think about all the cultures he's been to and all the food he's eaten 100%. And all the things he's read. And I was like, man, that's so amazing, because it's not in books. He got to sit in living rooms with families in India and learn about their culture and their food. And the power of that education has just kind of like filtered through his whole intellect to the point where like he's going into 6th grade and has like a college level social studies perspective on the world, which I thought was really cool.
100%. So I have a personal goal for the past 5 years, every year, to take my 5 kids, 7 plane tickets is expensive to travel internationally. But every year I was able to take my family to one country. Last year we went to 2 countries, Jamaica and Italy.
Nice.
And it was the most incredible experience ever. Like I've seen, and the way I do it, I hire a guide and we walk and, you know, they pick you up. Like I've seen my 10-year-old and my 17-year-old glued to the guy asking questions. You know, like we stayed next to Coliseum in Rome. Next year, I'm throwing it out there, the moment the school ends, my dream, God was willing, Egypt and Turkey, Istanbul.
Awesome. We just went to Egypt like 5 months ago.
Really? How was it?
It was amazing.
I want to go do Nile tour.
Yeah.
Like did you do that?
Yeah,
Cruise?
we did the Nile cruise. We went to the pyramids.
How many days did
went
you
to
do it for?
Saqqara.
The
5
cruise?
days.
5 days cruise?
But we did four countries in 2 weeks.
Wow. I want to do 12, 14 days. It's Istanbul, and I want to maybe like 7, 8 days in Egypt.
Yeah, it was
I'm-
awesome.
I love Egypt. Everything in Egypt. I fall asleep under listening how they build pyramids every
Yes,
night.
yes,
How did they
yes.
build pyramids? Fall
Yes.
asleep.
Make sure you go to Saqqara.
Saqqara?
That's the area next to the pyramids.
Yep.
It's actually cooler than the pyramids, but you can't really see it. There's nothing standing up above the ground really, but you get to go down
Oh,
inside
I
the
know.
tombs.
Like pyramids is not even on my top 5
Yeah,
list
yeah.
for Egypt.
Dude, we went down in a tomb that was like 4,800 years old and
It's
got
insane.
to touch the walls with the hieroglyphs.
They're still
kids, their
finding
whole
stuff
minds
there. They're
exploded.
still finding
Yes,
stuff
yeah,
there.
yeah, it was awesome.
It's insane. Off the topic.
That's where the good stuff is.
Yes. The CatchAll started as an internal fix. What gave you the courage to turn it into national product? And did you know it's going to be a national product?
No, when my buddy,
Accidental success.
yeah, my buddy Eric and I, I've been friends with him for 20 plus years. I mean, close to 25 years now. We were best man at each other's weddings and stuff. And we met each other in film and television. And he moved to LA to keep working. And I got out of the industry eventually and then got into roofing. And when I wanted to become the owner, when I bought the company, he wanted to come work for me. And after he was there for a year or so, he's like, all right, let's make something. Let's grow into the next thing. And we had been racking our brains for years on how to solve the trash and nails problem at the job sites. Because now at that point we're doing, 1,000 roofs a year or something like that. So dirty job sites were causing us big problems. So we're trying really hard to solve it. And so we innovated a lot inside of the company. And then Eric and I saw this potential to maybe make a system out of it. And as soon as we started testing it in the field, as soon as we started putting it on job sites, roofers started trying to buy it. And so in the beginning, I thought it was just going to be proprietary because I thought we would just keep it as an advantage and outsell our competition with that tool. And really, I mean, I actually probably could have done really well as a roofing company if I had done that. But I wanted to raise the standard in the industry. And then I realized a pretty important truth, which I think you've probably come across too, is it's a little bit easier to make money when other people do roofs than when you do roofs, because doing the roofs yourself, it can be a pretty hard business to just consistently make money on. And so, yeah, we dove into it and it's been a wild ride since.
Do you see a lot of copycats? Did people try to copy your product? And
There's only been one company out there that's really even gotten close.
is it Smart Tarps?
I don't want to get too deep into it, but there is a company out there that's gotten a little bit close.
So-
And we have really strong IP, so our intellectual property game is pretty strong. So it'd be really difficult to copy us. Sure. And if there were someone out there like that, it'd be pretty easy to squash them if we wanted to.
Sure. And also, you're first to the market. You already like so many people. Your household name at this point.
Yeah,
love it. You're running a roofing company and a product company at the same time. How do you keep your energy balance between the two? Where is your priority right now?
Oh man. Well, you got to throw in Balance Claims. That's the other company that I own. Right.
I forgot that.
Yeah. So,
which one is the more? Give me the sizes. Which one is bigger? Like first, second, third, and
like
which,
revenue size? You mean? Or
yes,
people
revenue size and also your time in each company.
So let's see, revenue size. AVCO Residential is probably the highest revenue, and then maybe AVCO Commercial, and then CatchAll and Balance Claims, and some of those are all pretty similar. As far as my time goes, I don't really put a whole lot of time into Balance Claims. It was a very successful long-term company when I bought it, or bought the majority stake. Troy Clymer and his partner Josh Roseboom are part of the founders there. They've been doing it for like 12 years. They're the largest kind of supplement company in the industry. I did my own in-house supplementing for like 4 years, convinced I could do it better and cheaper. And after 4 years, I realized I actually couldn't. I ran the numbers, couldn't actually do it better and cheaper. I did it a little bit better, just a small margin better, but definitely not cheaper. And so then I ended up just buying Balance. I don't put much time into there though. I do have like some leadership influence and vision over it as the main partner, and I do have influence, but I don't spend a ton of time weekly in that one. I spend most of my time in CatchAll.
What from your nonprofit days still shows up in how you run your crews? My goodness, it was a tough read from you.
I think the way that we value them and treat them as important partners in what we do, and how we have an understanding for their place in the economy and in the country really shows in how we treat them and how we pay them. And I still, to this day, I have two staff members at AVCO that were on the original roof that I did 17 or 18 years ago. They're still with me today. And their family has been employed a lot of members of their family in some shape or form over the years have been employed at AVCO or other entities of mine, because I really know that I would not have been able to build a successful business had it not been for the subcontractors. And they get a lot of heat, in different places and different subcontractors, immigration issues and things like that. And there's a lot of people out there making a lot of money and then going on Facebook and slamming all these immigration issues. Now we need to kick all these people out of the country, but then their business wouldn't be able to operate if their plan actually went through. They wouldn't be able to build roofs or hang drywall or whatever else it is they do in construction. And I don't think that's fair. I think that's disingenuous not to acknowledge that you're building a business off the people that you're also somehow criticizing and saying that they're not here legally or whatever. But the reality of it is there's not really a legal path for them to get here right now. The Republicans and Democrats have been tied up together in locked horns for so long. There's not a path for them to get here in a way that makes sense. And so if you're also benefiting from them and have a business that utilizes them, I think that's disingenuous,
Got it. 5 quick questions, and then we'll go to the spicy part. And if you guys have any questions, would most roofers pick reputation or revenue if forced to choose?
I think most roofers, if everyone didn't know what they were choosing and it was a private decision people wouldn't know about it, I think they'd pick revenue.
Revenue.
Yeah.
What's one truth about crews homeowners don't know?
One truth about crews. Well, that for a lot of them, that would probably be the last job that they would do. If they had another option for something better to do, they'd be doing that. They don't really want to be there doing that most of the time. They're doing it because that's what they need to do to survive and pay for their family.
Really? So desperate?
I mean, I'm not going to put that word. I'm not going to project that onto them,
Yeah.
but I will say that, as soon as they find other opportunities that are less dangerous, a little bit easier, not as hard on their body, they'll take it. And I would too.
Wow. That's deep. What's the bigger killer of roofing companies? Bad marketing, bad workmanship, or bad leadership?
Bad leadership for sure. 100%. And I can say that because I've made a lot of mistakes that have made my company stumble throughout the years. But you can overcome bad marketing and you can overcome bad reputation. But bad leadership, man, spoils it for a long time.
You've turned tarps and nets into nationwide product. What is it that say about contractor missing obvious opportunities?
Say that one more time. I missed it.
So there, you pretty much took some very basic idea, right? Like tarps, cleanup, and you turn it into massive opportunity. Why so many roofers don't see the basic opportunities? We're not very innovative industry on technology. Everybody says outside look like, oh, you guys are 20 years behind. Why we're that way in industry?
I don't know that I have the best answer for that, for what other people are thinking, but I will say that my mind and my mindset is constantly looking for ways to innovate and improve things. And so I can say that that's probably how I got there, but why other people haven't arrived at that conclusion, I think it's just kind of following what they were taught, which was, it's a construction site, it's dirty, it's messy. We're going to do our best, but we're probably going to break something and we're going to leave a few nails behind, but you're just going to have to deal with it. That's the mindset of roofing when I started. And it has changed somewhat. But still, there's a lot of roofers. We interact with them every day on Facebook. They try to rag on CatchAll all the time about how I don't need that. And I've been roofing for 30 years and I've never had a complaint. And, I just don't believe that. But, there's people that have that mindset and they just want to stay there. So that's okay.
Have last question. If you're watching on TikTok, you can ask a question after. Also, if you're in the audience, you can also ask a question after this one. And then we'll go to the spicy part. What's a harsh truth that no one tells you about launching a national product? Because you've been there, you've done that. Have a t-shirt.
Harsh truth.
Because I also noticed there are a lot of roofers out there who has $1 million idea, and they just need to find a manufacturer and patent and lawyer and bring it to the market, and ABC will buy it.
Yeah. I think the harsh truth in that is most of the ideas just aren't good ones. I mean, that's just the reality of it. They're just, most of them aren't good ones. Do they solve a problem somewhere? Yeah, for sure. But is it scalable? Is the manufacturing costs going to be relative to the value of the product of which you're going to ask someone to pay? You know, I met with a guy. We've had a lot of people approach us with products. We've actually licensed some from people that have good ideas. We've actually licensed our ideas to other people as well. You know, I had some guy bring a product to me that he was certain was like a $500 product, and it was like a small addition to helping you like clean up a little bit. And it's like a $20 product, and he was 100% certain it was a $500 product. It was a little piece of plastic. But he thought the value of what it saved you had to do with what people would pay for it. And I was like, well, people are going to pay for it what they look at it and see that it's worth.
Yep.
And if you can buy a similar product for $20, they're not going to give you $500 for it. So we had a huge argument, and I thought he was going to try to fight me. But it's just the reality. Most of the ideas really aren't that good.
I've been accused so many times for not covering this story, and I'll start with this. The reason I did not cover the story, because number one, I don't have to cover every dispute in the industry. Number two, there's not there for me. Like whether I cover or don't cover, you know, nobody pays me. This is my time that I invest or don't invest in a story. Number three, just because they're my friends, listen, my sponsors, my friends, everybody knows you cannot buy me. Like I don't have, like I have 13 sponsors of the channel. I don't have agreement with any one of them because they know, and I tell them the reason I don't have agreements because if you do something shady, I want to be able to drop you. That's it. Like this is how we roll. So if AVCO pays me or Atlas pays me a couple $1,000s to sponsor a class or episode, you know what? If I don't like what they do, I'll call them and say, hey, I'm dropping you, and I don't have agreement in place. So with that being said, Ryan Moore, this is my answer to you. So I actually invite you to my studio, and I'll give you opportunity to share your side of the story. But today is Heath Hicks' side of the story. And finally, we're going to break the sentence because it's been 3-4 years since I've been personally attacked for not covering. So what's the story, my man?
So I'll try to keep it brief. You know,
Sure.
I've tried to leave my time and energy for, you know, better things.
Better things.
Yeah, but you know, it's kind of been pushed to the point where you wanted to talk about it, so here we are. Yeah, so I had some previous employees that worked at the company. And I guess I'll have to start with my disclaimer. This is the legal part. Everything I'm going to say here is my claims, and it's what I believe happened. I am not actually accusing anyone of any specific crime. I have to leave that to the judge and the jury to decide. So I am speaking about what I believe happened. I believe there is evidence to support my claims. But they are claims at this point. We are involved in a lawsuit where I'm making those claims, but ultimately the judge and jury will decide. And so I'm not accusing anyone of specific crimes, you know, in a sense. So I had some employees that were working for me that decided they were going to start their own company, which, you know, I don't have any problem with that. There's been,
Very typical.
There's been several over the years, and really most of them did it in good faith, and we talked about it beforehand, and we shook hands, and I said that basically as long as you follow all the written agreements and you don't steal anything from me and take my customers and my systems and all that stuff, then, you know, be free, you know, go be successful on your own. What I'm claiming is that I had some employees that were working from the inside of my company while they were still employees to set their company up and take our data and our systems and our customer lists and a lot of other proprietary information for months and months and months. Not like a short experience, a long experience of them setting themselves up. And in the process, you know, one of them got fired for cause, in my opinion, for actions that were related to this. And, you know, up until that point, our agreements with our salespeople were such that if you got fired with cause, you didn't get your unpaid commissions at that point. And, you know, on that day, it didn't really amount to much, but there were some there, $10,000, $20,000, something like. It wasn't a gigantic amount that I could find. But ultimately, there were some people inside the company that deleted the paperwork that outlined that agreement. So then when they sued me and we went to court, ultimately they won. They won the judgment, and I paid it. And
how much was the judgment? Like roughly?
$300,000 once it included legal fees, and they asked for a big gigantic number up in the front in the beginning, I think, just hoping to get some of it. And there were some complications with the way the trial went and things like that, ultimately I owed him a big stack of money that I was not expecting to have to pay. And so I paid it, and it hurt. It sucked, to lose a case like that. And then to get, blasted so publicly for so long after it happened was difficult for myself and the company. But, ultimately, like I said, it was a contractual dispute, and I paid it. They've made it sound like I stole from all these people and I was getting rich on all this stuff. But
tell me about the trial. Tell me about why do you think you lost? And was it clean shot? Was it close?
No. Yeah, I don't actually know how much I can talk about that.
Sure,
so I'm a little bit uncomfortable, just so I don't want to say anything I'm
totally
not supposed to say. But
totally
ultimately, I lost, and it was fine.
You lost and you paid.
I lost it, and I paid it.
Why there's so much beef right now? Why they're still blasting? Why still?
In my opinion, I think they're still blasting it because they're still trying to make my company go away. Because if my company closes in our little small town, they get all the benefit of employees and crews. Right. They're direct competitors, very close. Like in the beginning, they were like half mile down the road, very close. And so ultimately, I had claims of my own during that case, but we decided not to put them in that case because the amount of their claims and the amount of my claims was vastly different. And so we're pursuing those claims now. There's an active lawsuit at the moment. And I believe that we have evidence to support, the fact that these people came together in conspiracy with each other to harm my business and build their business to compete unfairly against me. And in the middle of all of that, in order for them to be justified in the things that they've done, they've really villainized me as a human, as a person. Which was really hard for me to deal with in the beginning, but has really brought me a lot of beautiful lessons and wisdom over time. Really helped me grow and become a lot stronger version of myself, just kind of being attacked so hard in my little town. But we're moving forward, and the case is moving forward. Our damages are very significant at this point. If anybody wants to go and read, the pleadings are there in the county clerk's office. You can just go online and find it and read the story for yourself. I don't want to get into all the details, as it can seem dramatic, and there's a lot of personal things they're trying to bring in to just smear everybody, and they're not relevant to the case. I'm just trying to stay focused on the case so we can win.
Got it. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
With this, we're going to wrap it up. Ryan Moore, I promised you that I will cover the story. So what that means, I'm not going to share my opinion right now. Heath was invited here. You invited here. You can fly to Minneapolis. We can work out in the morning. If you survive, we'll go to the sauna, do the podcast, or you can just do this, or we can do it over Zoom. Then after that, I'm going to ask my lawyer to review the documents, the legal documents. He's probably going to share it with me. I'll talk with my producer. We'll review it, and I'll share both of your sides. I will share my opinion. I will ask my audience for opinion as well. So this is how we cover the stories. Again, it's not my cup of tea, if you ask me. I don't like this kind of disputes. It's not kind of stories I like to run on this channel, but you asked me for it for 3 years, so I'm running it. I'm openly inviting you to my studio wherever you can, or let's schedule a Zoom. And we'll do it. We can do it next week. Following, I'll find time. This is my priority at this point. Guys, comment below what you think about Heath Hicks podcast. I think it was amazing. We did not do it just for, actually, the question about the drama was not even there, but I have to make kind of statement out of it. I think it's one of my favorite podcasts of, always like to talk to Heath, just because how well-grounded he is in the roofing industry with all of his products and stuff. He's one of the most innovative people. If you've been at last year's IRE, by the way, is Wilbur for sale yet?
It's in production and manufacturing, getting it all nailed down. Hopefully, it'll be for sale beginning of next year.
Beginning of next year, because so many people have asked us, when can we buy it? So beginning of the next year, probably by IRE.
We've had hundreds and hundreds of pre-orders. There's a lot of people really excited about that. I'm very excited.
So you went to Cybertruck round.
Yes.
Pre-orders.
That's
so
right.
I absolutely love it. Comment below what you think and ask a question. I'll answer all of them, and I'll see you in the next video.
Roofers and contractors fix the damage. We fix the insurance problem. Too often, insurance companies delay, deny, or underpay, leaving property owners stuck and your work on hold. That delay costs your client and costs you. At the Chad C. Wilson Law Firm, we cut through the stall tactics and fight for full payment, so projects move forward and checks get written. Together, We can anchor the scales and make insurance accountable for their promises.